Reactive maintenance. Reactive maintenance, aka breakdown maintenance, is the run it until it breaks maintenance strategy. No actions or efforts are taken to maintain the equipment. Recent studies indicate that this maintenance mode is still the predominant mode of maintenance for many plants. The reference study breaks down the average maintenance program as follows: 55% reactive, 31% preventive, 12% predictive, and 2% other. Note that more than 55% of maintenance resources and activities of an average facility are still reactive. I've got to say here that I'm very surprised with this statistic simply because I used to travel around the world visiting many industrial plants, biodiesel plants, oilseed plants, mining facilities, power stations, and most of the time they were employing either a preventive or predominantly preventive, or they were changing over to a predictive maintenance strategy. A 55% reactive or breakdown strategy seems to me to be quite high. Now the logic behind this is simple. If you have a lot of machines in a process breaking down randomly, then there's a danger that you might interrupt the process. If you're making $20 million a day at a specific plant, then the last thing you want to do is shut down the plant just because a few pumps have failed. If you shut down the plant for, let's imagine, 12 hours, then you're going to lose $10 million. Now the price of the pump may be $200,000, it might be $20,000, but the point is your losses far exceed the cost of having a spare pump on site, or installing two pumps and changing from one to the other, or maintaining the pump in the first place. So that's one of the deciding factors that's shifting people away from reactive or breakdown maintenance and towards preventive and predictive maintenance. As I say though, in some other facilities where cash is not king, then perhaps they're still using this 55% reactive maintenance strategy. But at the end of the day, normally if things cost more money, then people tend not to want to do them, and that's the reason why they'll shift over to a different maintenance strategy. Advantages to reactive maintenance can be viewed as both negative and positive. If dealing with new equipment, initial failure rates are low. If the maintenance program is purely reactive, plant personnel will not expend manpower dollars or incur capital costs until something breaks. Since there are no initial maintenance costs, this initial period is sometimes classed as the saving money period. In reality, savings experienced during this period are often negligible compared to the true cost experienced later. Labour costs associated with any repairs are likely to be higher than normal because the failure will require extensive repairs compared to typical maintenance, and the failure is also unscheduled. Since the equipment is operated until failure, a large inventory of spare parts is required. This is a cost that could be minimised under a different maintenance strategy. The largest cost may be associated with interruption to the process as a whole. This cost is termed either business interruption or downtime, and is a primary concern for most commercial plants. So this is all true. Imagine that we're operating the entire plant on a reactive or a breakdown maintenance strategy. This is really not good. We're going to have random pieces of machinery failing. They're going to fail randomly. We're never going to know when they're going to fail. We're going to have to keep a huge amount of spare parts on site, as well as perhaps entire machines. And that is all additional cost. Many plants look at their spare parts and consider it dead money. The spare parts are not in service, they're not making the plant any money, and they may never be used. So they will look at this, and then they'll look at the cost of all of these spares, and then they'll calculate roughly how much dead money they have sitting there. And if it's too much, they may even start to sell off the spares, which is going to make the problem even worse when the machines do fail and the spares are no longer there. So all in all, this reactive or breakdown maintenance strategy is simply outdated, and this is why you'll not see it used for things like diesel engines or emergency generators or anything like that. That is the reason why we change filters on engines and why we conduct periodic maintenance.